Well, hello and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today. I have a very special episode just for you, and it's all about Ayurvedic lifestyle. And my guest is no other than Claudia Figueredo. And she's a Vedic counselor and a meditation teacher by the Chopra Center. And she also works with Ayurveda, yoga, breathing techniques, and Ayurvedic lifestyle and Vedic astrology. So, with further ado, please put your hands together and your ears open for my lovely Claudia. Hey, I'm Veronica de Polo, and with more than 15 years being a marketing strategist, you're going to experience the new way to promote your business with clear and unique messaging by giving you actionable marketing and messaging strategies that get you interested leads to transform the lives of your audiences so that you build up your brand with continuous momentum. Get ready, because here's where we say no to outdated marketing strategies and society norms, and we say yes to change from the inside out. Welcome to the Branding Momentum Podcast. Well, hello, Claudia. I'm so happy you're here. Oh, this has been a long time coming. This is one of the things that I wanted to do for a very, very long time, which was to get you in here and illuminate my life on the wonderful things that you actually do, which I must confess, I understand half of them. So, which is actually wonderful that I have you here.
Oh, that's so convenient because like you, I'm sure there's many people who don't get it. So maybe we can help others to understand what really is my job.
Exactly. So with the first thing that I want to know, what is the difference between Ayurvedic and Vedic consultants?
Okay, so let's start first by telling you that there's no difference actually between being an Ayurvedic consultant or a Vedic counselor, because being a Vedic counselor includes Ayurveda. I mean, you must know Ayurveda lifestyle and Ayurvedic principles in order to be a Vedic counselor, because a Vedic counselor, what is a Vedic counselor?
Yeah,
Counselor
exactly.
is a word that everybody knows. Everybody knows what is counseling, coaching, whatever, similar. The thing that makes a difference here is the Vedic word. So Vedic has to do with the Vedas, and Vedas have to do with the wisdom of the creation of earth. I mean, Vedas is to go to the strict point, are like the four most ancient texts in humanity that existed 15,000 years ago, where the wisdom of nature is revealed by, which means yoga, meditation, breathing, Ayurvedic lifestyle, and the stars and the planets, astrology, and also Vastu. Vastu means it's what comes before the Feng Shui. It's like the Feng Shui of India. So being a Vedic counselor, being a Vedic counselor is the same thing as talking of like a life coach, you would say. But the difference is that I'm going to give you counseling using these tools, using yoga as science, because yoga includes meditation, breathing, mindfulness, even, doing some postures if you want to do the yoga physique stuff, but it's much more about the physique. It's much more about meditation and breathing. And then you have the tool of Ayurveda, which is the science of life, and something we can delve or develop in this consulting. And also you talk about astrology, because we're not just this, Vero, we are a wholesome thing. So being a Vedic counselor, it's talking about your physique, it's talking about the gross, which is your body, what you eat, but it's also talking about your mind, your emotions through yoga, through meditation, breathing, mindfulness. And it's also talking about your digestion, which is something very subtle. I mean, how you digest food, but it's also talking about how you live your life with the circadian rhythm. We're having an interview here in Venezuela with the sun, and there's plenty of concentration. So it's also the science of sleep, the science of work, how many hours you work in a day, in what times, and so on. So it's something very broad, but using Vedic techniques, which are the ones I told you before.
Right. I've never heard this in any other, I guess, cultures that have these specific things, because I've heard you talk about pita, and which is the kind of foods that you can eat, and if you're this you can eat that, and if you are that you can consume that, but you should not consume this because it makes you, I mean, the little bit that I've watched and heard you over the years when you got into all this, right? And I want to actually ask, what made you get into this?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I was begging that you asked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what got me into this, actually, I started with yoga, going to a yoga class when my mom had cancer in New York, staying at your place. So
Yeah.
that was around the year 2008, more or less. So just because, I lived there for 5 months, I entered into a yoga class because I was really, really so tired of being in the hospital and so on. And I needed something like, somebody please give me some peace. So at that time, I was, never, ever been with yoga or anything similar. So everything started back in New York. Actually, it was like the first time I had a contact with these Vedic sciences, because yoga is a Vedic science. It's a science that has more than 15,000 years. So after that, everything started like one step after the other. After that, I started doing meditation, and that lasted until the year 2016, more like the yoga studio, more like going to classes and, and doing postures and learning to breathe and learning to meditate, but in a very informal way, Then there sort of events happened in my life. I got divorced, lots of trouble. My kids left the nest. So I basically stayed on my own. So empty nest and, many other troubles. And I had an eating disorder. I had an eating disorder that is called, in Spanish, it's called síndrome del atracón. It's binge eating. Okay. So binge eating means that you don't vomit or you don't starve. It's just that you binge and you eat and eat
Yeah,
and
you
eat
eat
and
and
eat
eat. Yeah.
until you're so full that you can no longer eat and you feel unwell, and then you don't eat the next day because you're full, not because you have anorexia, whatever, but it's an eating disorder
Right.
that makes you very unhappy. So
Yeah.
even though, this is very interesting, even though I was a yogi, meaning that I did yoga, I taught yoga, I became a yoga teacher, certified in New York as well, and meditation and all that, not everything was complete. I did have disorders, and I had a special disorder with eating. I had a topic with food. Even though I've never been fat, never had extra weight, I had issues in my mind with emotional eating. So that was the time when I said, you know what, there's something missing here, one piece, and it has to do with food. Even though I did everything organic, blah, 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 healthy food, la, la, la. So that's where I met Ayurveda, the science of life. And I met Ayurveda just because of eating habits, just because I needed a guidance to eat that did not have restrictions or that would not lead me into a diet.
Right.
That I had to diet because I was killing myself. I went to ER like 4 or 5 times due to, I had ulcers, all my digestive tract had like little holes. I even had precancer cells in my colon. So that point, when I got that diagnosis, I said, you know what, there's something missing here. I'm not complete. So I went to California to meet Dr. Suhas Shirsagar, who is one of the top 10 Ayurvedic physicians and medical doctors in the US, and he's also Indian, of course. So I met Dr. Suhas with all this drama that I'm confessing with your audience. And I think it's important that people know, what's behind a yoga teacher, that we're very normal, that we go through lots of troubles.
Exactly. And
And
not only that, that you are
yeah,
your own success story.
Oh, yeah, that's the
And
most
that's how
important
you
part.
teach other people.
Exactly, because I'm not teaching something like from the theory. I'm
Mm-hmm.
teaching something, 99% practice, even with
Mm-hmm.
my insomnia issues and everything. So
Exactly.
I go to Dr. Suhas and I meet this wonderful person. And he really, the first thing that he does is, makes me know who I am through my Vedic chart. I mean, through my ascendant and the position of the moon. I've never ever been in astrology before. I didn't even know anything about being a Taurus. If anybody would talk to me and say, "Oh, because your house and you have Mars or you have Jupiter," I'm like, go to another place, man.
What are
I'm
you
not
talking
interested.
about? I'm like, I don't understand
I mean, what are you
anything.
talking about? Can somebody take me out of this conversation like
Yeah. Like
fast?
next.
Yeah, it's so funny. So this guy, in a very intelligent way, he just tells me, you're an Aries ascendant, and I'm like, what? I'm Taurus. Well, you're Aries ascendant in Vedic astrology, and I'm like, what? And he starts telling me characteristics about myself, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm intense. It's written there. I'm intense. Okay. I could tend to addictions. Oh my God, my eating disorder, which is an addiction with food, it's in the Vedic chart. And it's like, Vero, like when you just unload the pack of guilt and you throw it away and you say, oh my God, I can embrace myself.
Mm-hmm.
The intensity, the fire, the pita, you know, how I take life, even my divorce, even my addictions, everything it's here with my ascendant and the moon and the position of the moon. And I'm like, I don't care what you're talking about. What I'm interested in is in what you're telling me.
Right.
So when I left that first consultation, I felt, Vero, like I had 100 pounds less over my back because,
Of course.
everybody criticized me. My mom, my family, my ex-husband, my friends, you're so intense, you're so this, you're so that. And I'm like, how can I change the way I am? So you start like trying to change to please others, and that's not who you really are.
Exactly.
So that's the way
But the
Ayurveda.
self-talk needs to improve.
Yeah,
So now you know
yeah.
that there is a reason why you were doing that. And now
Of
you're going to
course.
self-talk in a way that you're going to be like, hey, you know what? This is, it's okay. It's okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay. You're
Mm-hmm.
fire, Claudia. You're
Exactly.
fire. Aries is it's fire and air, and you have the sun in a position that is very important. And that's a lot of fire, and you turn to burn yourself and you turn to burn others. So
Yeah.
now you know who you are, and now we're going to deal with your fire. And that's how Ayurveda, Vero, gave me an introduction to myself.
Right.
So, you start learning about your elements, which are the elements that are predominant in you. And from there, you start working with food that pacifies you, that gives you calm,
And
that
balance, right?
diminishes the fire and that balances you.
Yeah.
But before having that food, the first thing you have to understand is who you are.
Exactly. Well, anything in life, I guess, right? Because you can go through life punishing yourself for so many things or not taking 2 minutes to stop to think, oh, you know what? I'm going to check on myself. I'm going to do work on me. But when you do decide that you want to take care of yourself, you want to be better, that's what got you where you are.
Of course. And also when sometimes, Vero, it's not a decision, sometimes in my case, that it takes like, okay, I am going to go inside and know who I am. In my case, and this is a lot of my clients' case,
Mm-hmm.
is when the body gives signals. Like I have a few clients that have cancer, pancreatic cancer, breast cancer. So the body gives signals to an end where it says, you know what? Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. I mean, stop and go inside, look at your fears, look at what you really like, look at what you really are, stop pleasing others, look for what makes you happy. Name a
Right.
career, name it a place where you decide to move, name it, to have a new partner, whatever. So many times, we don't take the pause because we know who we are in terms, Vero, of how you project to the world. And that has to do with the ascendant. I mean, who is Vero and how she projects in the world, and how other people see you through this podcast or your social media, and how do people see me, and how do I see you as a friend, and so on. But there's another reality that is the one that nobody sees, that is the one that it's inside, that is the one that kills you, that is the one that makes you suffer or makes you happy or makes you proud. And it's in the mind and it's in the heart.
Exactly.
Yeah. So sometimes, our ego, which is ego is necessary, takes us into the doing. And then someday, like my case, just for overeating, because it was an eating disorder, I got to ER until the last exam was, you have to come in 6 months because you have pre-cancer cells. And that day I said, I'm not coming to this doctor anymore. I'm not going to do a single whatever, the colonoscopy and stuff, because it's super invasive in the body. Yeah. I am going to take this by the root. And what was the root? Ayurveda. So Ayurveda, Vero, is really what got me into a Vedic counselor. Because I started studying Ayurveda. I already knew the yoga. I already knew the meditation. But I started digging into myself. And I healed the eating disorder, which I no longer have, thanks heaven. I started healing from inside out. It took several years. I still have to heal other areas. Yeah. And then from Ayurveda, learning the elements, learning the Pitta, the Vata, the Kapha, the food, lifestyle, and so on, is where I said, okay, you know what? I want to help others, not only teaching yoga, not only teaching meditation. I want to become a counselor. But what kind of a counselor do I want to be? Do I want to be a life coach? Do I want to be a health coach? What do I want to be? No, I want to be a Vedic counselor. And there we come in the difference between, okay, what is the difference? Why would I go to you, Claudia, instead of going to a health coach? Exactly. Or instead of going to a life coach? I mean, why would I go to a Vedic counselor? I mean, what is the difference? And I would say, okay, a health coach is a person who is trained to help a client with objectives, blah, 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 and is specialized in an area. It could be specialized in nutrition, could be specialized in exercise and nutrition, could be specialized in exercise, nutrition, and sleep, for example, and in very scientific based. A Vedic counselor is a counselor that works every aspect of the human being, because a Vedic counselor is a person who knows a great deal about Ayurveda, which includes sleep, exercise, eating, how you deal with the hours in the day. I mean, how you deal with healthy hours. A Vedic counselor must know enough about Vedic astrology, because you got to know who you are astrologically. You don't care if it's, like I told you before, if you are Gemini, Taurus, Aries, doesn't matter. What it matters are the traits that this Vedic chart gives you in order for you to keep on going deeper into yourself. So a Vedic counselor must know about Vedic astrology, must know about yoga, but the philosophy of yoga. Okay. The way of yoga living, must know about how to breathe, how to calm the nervous systems with different breathing techniques, must know how to teach different techniques of meditation. And this counselor can also be an expert in certain areas. Okay, so in my case, I'm an expert in meditation. Yeah. I'm an expert in pranayama, which are the breathing techniques. Yeah. I am an expert in lifestyle with Ayurveda. I'm not an Ayurvedic physician. I'm not an Ayurvedic practitioner, but I'm an expert in how to live your life according to the circadian, with a circadian rhythm. And I'm becoming an expert in Vedic astrology, because I'm studying 3 years to become a Vedic astrologer. Okay. So it's like I know a lot, but I'm becoming expert in each of the areas of Vedic counseling.
You want to choose where you're good at and what you think there is I mean, people, how better you can help other people. But the more specialized that you are in whatever you do, I think it's better as a service provider, right?
Of course, because you can go deeper.
Exactly. Plus, also, people can pinpoint exactly Claudia is this. This is her
Exactly.
specialization. Like, she's not broad. And this, for those of you that are listening to me, what we're talking about is not niche. This is specialization, something that you are an expert about. And people can actually have a word of mouth and use and say what you are good at. Like Veronica is good in marketing and messaging. Okay, now you know. Now Claudia is good at as a specialist in Ayurvedic and Vedic consulting, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So, going to the beginning where you said, an Ayurvedic consultant and a Vedic counselor, there are Ayurvedic consultants only. You could go to an Ayurvedic consultant, and that Ayurvedic consultant has like different steps in the ladder. I mean, you have the Ayurvedic consultant, which is I am an Ayurvedic consultant as well, because to be a Vedic counselor, you need to be an Ayurvedic consultant.
Right.
But then you have Ayurvedic specialists, because are the practitioners and the physicians, because Ayurveda is the medicine of the Indians. So then you have the practitioner, which is 3 years of study. Then you have the physician, which is 6 years of study. So if you go to an Ayurvedic consultant, just a consultant, okay, that person might be an Ayurvedic practitioner, which is like talking is a person who can give you treatment with herbs, okay? Or you have an allergy, or you have migraines, or you have inflammation in your colon. So that practitioner can give you herbs. I mean, can give you the medicine in herbs. A consultant like myself is not allowed to do that. The practitioner would be like a nurse, like a nurse, but in the US.
Mm-hmm.
The nurses in the US are like very qualified technicians, so they can.
Yeah.
It's like what comes before being a doctor.
Exactly.
Okay, in my case, I'm the consultant, so I'm an expert in lifestyle. I'm an expert in how to live your life in terms of the chronobiology. I mean, in terms of the circadian rhythm. I'm an expert in that, in how you deal with your day to be the most productive in Ayurvedic ways. And there's where we come with Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And also, I'm an expert in food with any of the doshas that you have. Okay, so I hope you understand the difference. I mean, there are the two, just that
it's
the
very clear.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to move us to the next question, because I want to understand what are some of the challenges and obstacles that actually Ayurvedic consultants may face in marketing their services. How can they actually, if we were to talk about somebody that is into this, how can they actually overcome these sort of hurdles or obstacles or challenges in trying to, put themselves out there?
In terms of Ayurveda itself, or even Vedic counselor, it's even more complex than Ayurveda. Vedic counselor is my title, because Ayurveda is getting known more and more and more in the market. Vedic counselor is not so much known. I mean, when you look in Google, I mean, there's not so many people in Answer the Public. You know that website, Answer the Public, you put Vedic counselor, and there are not so many questions like when you put in Answer the Public Ayurveda. So one of the hurdles or obstacles, if we're going to talk about a Vedic counselor, or I would like to focus more on the Vedic counseling thing, is that
of course,
not
talk about
so
your
many,
strength. Yeah.
not so many people know the topic. I mean, you know what a coach is, you don't know what Vedas are. So since there's not so much information, you need to do, like in terms of social media, you need to do a lot, like every now and then, a lot of talk about what is the Vedic counselor, re-education, and also give the audience a lot of tools that are that you can connect easily with, sleep, eating, insomnia, meditation, breathing. So you give them tools where they can relate And every like certain time, you need to go again and say, okay, this is what includes a Vedic counseling. This is a Vedic counselor. A Vedic counselor is a person who has studied for many years these sciences, which is different from a health coach. A health coach, if the health coach has the certifications in yoga and meditation, that's super fine. But if it doesn't, yeah, they use, whatever they learned in different courses, but you need to have that specialist, I mean, that depth of knowledge.
Right.
That in my case, I've had it for, it's almost 17 years in the sciences, in the Vedic sciences, and also leaving the Vedic sciences due to my normal disorders.
Of course.
So yeah, I would say the obstacles are that not many people know the term Vedic counseling, but they do know what I work with. So in terms of what you work, Vero, some people say, well, why don't you put that you're a life coach? And I say, no,
Well, you're not.
I'm a Vedic counselor.
Exactly.
I'm a Vedic counselor. Well, but that doesn't give you so much marketing. Well, then I have to work harder.
Exactly.
I have to teach. I mean, this is a super good interview because then I have to, go on and on until people, the people that are in at the end of the thing, in the funnel, at the end of the funnel, are the ones who are going to talk to me and say, okay, she's a Vedic counselor, and understand. I'm not the white part. They don't know. They connect with the tools.
Yeah, like the top of funnel will connect with your yoga, with the lessons,
exactly, or the meditation,
the meditation and little things like that. And you want to take your audience and bring them into a funnel so they actually learn where you're talking about what you're an expert about in sleep deprivation or in eating, how to do the lifestyle. So you have to bring your people into the funnel so that you end up having your ideal client.
Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly.
Boom. And you got to repeat that process as many times as you can, because you know that what you offer is not known.
It's not known.
But you also know that it can change people's lives.
Yeah, and it's so important what you're saying, and I'm sure this is going to add value to your audience because it's part of what I talked to you at the beginning, Vero. It's about loving yourself and knowing who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, there are not so many Vedic counselors in the world. Maybe there are 3,000. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I'm one of them. And I'm here for a mission, and I have a life purpose, and I want to let you know what I do. Why should I sell myself as a life coach if I'm not a life coach, even though many people know what a life coach is?
Exactly. Not many people know what a life coach is.
Yeah, maybe not many people know. So it's again, Vero, about embracing yourself. I mean, what is it that you do? How you do it? How you're changing other people's lives? What is your unique style? What is your education? Why should I go into the mass if I am not the mass?
Exactly. And there's so much people that are saying that do the same things as maybe you know, because maybe they want to compare to you. They want to be you, right? But you know that you have your own path, and your own path is to stick to what you know. Stick to what you're expert about. Stick to what your own unique story, how you can help those that want to work with you. So your story becomes the selling actually point as well, because you are your ideal client. You've lived it.
Of course, I am my avatar.
You are.
I am my avatar. I remember I had this conversation with you some years ago, and you asked me this. You were, I think you were like at the beginning of this career. That might have been maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I don't remember, but we had this conversation about the avatar. And yeah, the avatar, it's me. It's me 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I mean, I'm talking to the people who were Claudia 12 years ago.
Exactly.
I'm my best example.
I'm the same, because my own avatar, and I don't even call them avatar anymore. I call them my potential clients. Point. I don't. It's not a fictional kind of person in my case. I think is your potential client. Who do you want to work with, right? So me, it's what I'm doing is for Veronica 15 years ago when she was lost and she had no clue how to communicate to the world what you actually do, right? So in your case, it's the same. See how beautiful is that?
Yeah, it's the same. And I continue to be my avatar also, my
Exactly.
avatar 15 years ago. But now I'm also my avatar in terms of sleep hygiene because I talk a lot about sleep
Mm-hmm.
because since I become into menopause, I never had sleep problems ever, ever. It's just when I enter the menopause, my sleep pattern started to change, and also that has to do with my vata, which I have a lot of air, a lot of variability that has to do with the doshas. And, there are many variants in the thing of sleep. But I am the avatar. I mean, when I talk to the audience and I say, you know what, I'll say, I have to make the peace with the suffering, make the peace with insomnia. I mean, you cannot give it so much power because the more power you give, the more preoccupied you become, the
Mm-hmm.
more anxiety you have, and then you become miserable. And the mind is the one who's going to tell you, you're not, you know what, Claudia, you cannot do this podcast today. So, you start procrastinating. No, wait, I cannot do it today because you're tired, because you didn't sleep.
Exactly.
So it's about working your mind, accepting the transition you're going through. And I'm my avatar right now with sleep. I mean, somebody tells me, how can you be talking about sleep if you're the first one who doesn't have the perfect precisely?
You are your own testing pilot plan. If I can do it, if I can solve this puzzle, if I can solve this, I can solve anybody's problems. I mean,
Of
I
course,
see
because
it
you
like
can
that, right?
relate, because you relate, you
Mm-hmm.
connect. I
Completely.
mean, you understand what the client is telling you. And let me tell you, regarding sleep, wow, there has been an improvement in average, like 70%, 75%,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm applying everything I learned.
Right.
So how can you talk to others? I mean, it's something that I know that it's out of this question, but it's going to make so much sense if somebody, if they're listening. It's about, like, for instance, the artificial intelligence, the
Yeah.
chat GPT, the Bard now, and so on, so on. Okay, super cool. You put in something and it gives you all the information. But you gotta know. I mean, you have to know what is it that you're asking, and you have to know the knowledge, and you have to live, and you have to process all that information in you before you ask the artificial intelligence. You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes I have asked questions and they're not giving me everything I know, everything I have studied. So it's again about going through the process, living the process. It's artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
You got to connect to your own intelligence, to your own wisdom that is not artificial. And then you use technology to give you something amazing.
Yeah. I agree. I did a podcast about it, and I gave my little 2 cents just about the AI and ChatGPT and all of that. And to me, it's yes, it could help you. You know, if you don't know any, you don't know how to tackle things, or you don't have any more creativity, or like how can you, create content and certain things. I personally, that's not the way that I do content. That's not the way that I create anything in the business, because I believe you have to know your ideal client in order to create the content. So
Of course.
I'm not going to ask a chat GPT. Yeah, I can give them whatever the specs and the things that I think. But I think in the end, we have to use our brains to be able to use this properly, because you are in the end who are expert with who you're trying to attract, who is your audience, who you want to be, who do you want to take as a potential client. So you know best, especially if you're coming like from us. We are our own ideal clients. So we've lived it.
Yeah.
We've gone through it. We've been low. We've had all those, pains and struggles and all these sort of things. And we know how to help other people because we've been helping ourselves get through everything that we're trying to do. Like, I wasn't
Of
born
course. Well,
an organizer. I wasn't born
of course.
a podcaster. I wasn't born doing YouTubes. I wasn't born all these sort of things. Everything that we do, we got to learn. We got to keep on going. We got to, yeah, there are a lot of things that we have to do in our mindset in order to be better. If we want to be better, for example, business owners, better servers, because we're in the service business. So when you are in the service business, you got to serve, but you got to serve yourself first, and then you got to serve everybody else.
And that's how we started podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the first thing you got to do before you serve others is exactly the first person that you got to serve is yourself. Because it's the only way you can trust yourself and feel absolutely secure on what you're communicating. And if you're searching in ChatGPT or whatever, you gotta be sure of what is it that you want to say and how you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at the end, Vero, having a personal brand is like one of the most difficult. I don't know when you are in a company, but it's wow, it's super challenging. It's super also. It gives you so much, so many stars and highs and everything. But I find it challenging because the first thing you got to do is again, being so sure about yourself, about your life purpose, about what do you want to communicate, how do you want to serve, how do you want to help others. I mean, how do you want to transform the life of that person in terms of yoga, whatever,
Exactly.
in terms of
In terms
business
of, yeah.
management. I mean, in terms of time, but how do you want to transform? And to do that, the first work you have to do is with yourself.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you cannot connect with that certainty that you connect to people and that I connect.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that sometimes I feel that people, and this is general actually, sometimes a lot of people feel that a business and a personal brand is not the same thing. To me, you as a personal brand and you as a person is the same. I feel that your sense of humor is the sense of humor of your personal brand or of your business. Maybe the business doesn't have your name, but how quirky or intricate or maybe shallow or not shallow or deep or enthusiastic or sad, that will reflect on your business. That will reflect on everything that you're doing with, even with the clients that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, right? So I think that there is a marriage there that a lot of people usually disconnect. No, that is one thing and that's the other thing. Because if you think in any kind of business, the first thing that you should actually, if I were to start a business again, the first thing that I would put all my energy into was to create a personal brand. Like, I would start from there. And then I would go into, I would go first me and then out.
And that's the way it is in Vedic sciences, Vero. That is the way it goes in a Vedic consultant. I mean, I'm giving a program right now, which is a high ticket program that lasts 3 months.
I want us to go to that question right now. I want you to tell me, what are the kind of services that you actually provide so that our listeners can actually know what are the kind of things that you give, that you do. And I know you do some things sometimes, and you're bilingual. Well, everybody obviously can listen to her amazing English, but go ahead and just enlighten us.
Well, the program that I'm working on right now, it's a high ticket program. It's high ticket just because it gives the transformation needed. That it's called Lighten Your Life to the Fullness. I mean, in Spanish would be Enciende tu vida a plenitud. Okay. So it would be Lighten Your Life to fullness. Well, I don't know how to say plenitud. Lighten your life, your energy. And that's a program. I just wanted to mention the part that you said before, because ignite your energy to plenitud. I don't know, how
Well,
would you
it's
say
like
that?
fulfillment, actually.
Yeah, to fulfillment. Exactly. So that program lasts 3 months and has like 3 steps.
Hmm.
And the first step is exactly what you said before. There's no way I can work with a client if we don't go into the client's ADN. I mean, the el ADN. I mean, the print,
Who they
la
are.
huella digital, the fingerprint,
Hmm.
who they are. And how do I get into who they are? Because you're going to tell me the story and we're going to go into a psychotherapy thing. No, no, no. We use tools from Ayurveda and from Vedic Astrology that are precisely designed to give me the information. You fill out that information, and I also go into your Vedic chart and I get all the information I need about you. And then I will tell you, which are your main doshas
Hmm.
that rule in your life towards eating, digestion, sleep, exercise, and your habits.
Is this
Because doshas are dynamic energies.
is this like a group setting, or is it a personalized one-on-one?
It's
Is
individual. No,
individual, and
this
how
is
many
this
people
is
are you
this
letting
is the
into this program?
only 3 people per month. It's a program
Okay,
that lasts three
that's
months.
good.
So it has like three phases, three super big steps. The
Hmm.
first one is recognizing who you
Yeah.
are. Then the second one, we go into the plan for eating, for exercise, for sleeping, and how to deal with your
Yeah.
energy on within the light and sleep. I mean, it's like giving you the healthy habits to ignite your energy, to improve your digestion, to reduce food allergies. All that has to do with Ayurveda. So we go into a certain, like a syrup detox that is super mild, and it's everything. It's very organic.
Okay.
Takes 3 months, and then on the third part, which is the third month, now that you have understood who you are, now that you know how to work with an Ayurvedic lifestyle that has nothing to do with being vegan,
Hmm.
has nothing to do with being, and that you have to go to bed at 8 p.m. because everything is designed with the client's
Of
need,
course.
with the client's
Yeah.
life. It's a one-to-one. Then we go into meditation and breathing because you already have calmed your nervous system by unloading yourself of guilt, by having a food and a lifestyle that it's more related to who you are and the season where you live, because we cannot have the same lifestyle when we are in summer than when we are in fall or when we are in winter.
Okay.
So Ayurveda works with
I
the
love
seasons.
that.
Ayurveda works with the
I'm very
sun.
seasonal kind of
Ayurveda,
woman.
yeah,
I've always
yeah,
been
I
very
mean, we
seasonal.
are
Even with my
we are
decorations, my
seasonal.
clothes, everything, I'm very seasonal.
We are seasonal, Vero. Ayurveda, it's all about seasons
Love
because
it.
we change our gut microbiome changes dramatically in
Hmm.
seasons. That's why when you are going into summer, you must look for vegetables and fruits and proteins and nuts that are seasonal. And for instance, now that you're living in a different part of, you're not living in Spain anymore. So looking for whatever
I am
local
living in
nature gives
Spain.
you. I know, I meant Madrid. I meant Madrid. You're
Oh,
living
okay.
near the ocean.
I'm in Spain.
Yeah.
It may
You,
not
you,
feel like I live
no,
in Spain because everybody here is an expat, but
no, 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 no. What I wanted to say is that you moved
Madrid.
from Madrid
Hmm.
to a town near the ocean.
Hmm.
So then you have a climate that is different
Yeah,
and you have local things, and nature gives you exactly the vitamins and the microbiome that you need for this season.
of
So
course.
Ayurveda, it's all about seasons. So the coaching that I give has to do with seasons, has to do with the age you have. I mean, I'm 55. You're 49, 45. How old are you, Vero?
49.
45,
I'm going to
46.
be 49.
You're 49. So, okay. So it has to do, the counseling for you at 49 wouldn't be the same one for someone who's 60, for someone who's 30, because we're in a different stage,
Of course,
Ayurvedically
of course.
speaking.
Yeah. These are personalized.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I give this personal super program. So not only I work on one, I also work in group sessions, and I also do workshops, and I do also the workshops are like shorter ones, but I also give cursos that are longer, that last a month, with primordial sun meditation or breathing techniques. But if you ask me which is your favorite, I say Vero. my one-on-one.
You're one on one.
Because it's where you really see the
Of
transformation.
course.
It's where you got the client satisfied. I mean, it's where you make the change.
I also know that well, I mean, you did at some point, you were doing retreats.
Oh yeah, I do retreats. I forgot about one. Yeah, I've done retreats in the US.
I'm so
I've
glad I
done
follow you
I've
for
done
so many years, my little cousin.
We love you. We love each other.
I know, I
Yes,
love
I
you.
just did a retreat actually a month ago. Yes, I do Ayurvedic retreats that Ayurveda includes meditation, includes yoga, includes breathing, includes eating, includes everything. I mean, includes Ayurveda also includes the astrology part. So yes, I do. I have done retreats, international retreats, and yeah, those are my products. I mean,
And you're very active on social media as well. So,
yeah, right now in social media, I'm not as active, but because I'm doing the rebranding thing and stuff. But yes, and I also give a lot, I do lives and I give a lot of free information because it's a service,
it is
Vero.
a service. It's good that you're giving a lot of information. People need to be informed and
Yeah.
identify with what you are trying to connect. And people need to
And
identify when you are speaking directly to what their need is. It might not be that talk, it may not be that post, but maybe the next one will.
yeah, and not everybody, Vero, when we're servicing, not everybody has the means, economic means to pay for a coach or to pay for a counselor. So I think, in part of the life purpose, we have to give.
I completely agree. Most of the things that I provide and I say are free, and you can download them from my website, from my social medias. I There are very few things that I would say that I would consider like high ticket, unless I would, which is in the works maybe someday. I wanted it this year, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. But I wanted to create like a mastermind, like bringing, service providers here to the south of Spain and stay here for like 3 to 4 days to talk about really what is to be on a personal brand, or how to improve their messaging if they're a company or a business, that kind of thing. I would love to do that. But we're
Oh, I would love to join that as a personal
yeah.
brand.
I mean, it can be a personal brand, it could be a company. It's fine. But yes, I'm still debating on how I want to structure it, because I want them to also not only have me, but have people that can provide value for other things within their business. So it's the whole experience. Even just already being in Spain and living in the Mediterranean is so rewarding, right? So
Oh my God,
so there's
yes.
certain things that I want to do, like, morning walks and things like that. Taking me back to my time when I used to do Bar and Katie. And because I feel that I need to empower that business owner,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the business owner and having the walks and creativity. When we talk
Exactly.
about creativity, that is a gift from the soul. I mean, being creative is a gift from the soul. I mean, producing content is a gift from the soul. And in order to produce content, you need to have, although you don't see it that way, you need to have a Vedic life. You need to have good sleep. You need to wake up early. You need to have your walk. You need to have your contact with nature. You
Hmm.
need to have your rest time. You need to have your time for leisure. You need to have your time for working. I mean, you really have to go with the wisdom of nature that has the most creativity. You need to flow with the seasons.
Hmm.
So you do need to have a Vedic life, you see. So that term Vedic is just put it
Full
into normal
circle.
vocabulary.
Full circle.
It's a full circle,
It
Vero.
is. It is.
It's mom, it's family.
Yeah.
Everything adds up to
Yeah.
creativity because stress diminishes your creativity. So in order to release stress, you need to find techniques to engage in that and be the most that you can give yourself. Absolutely.
Oh, this has been amazing, this talk. I would go for hours, but I have to run out of the house.
Oh, but we do another one in a few
Exactly.
months.
So anybody listening, you can find Claudia at Yoga Clo, CLO, Yoga Clo, all together on Instagram, and she's there most of the time. And she actually does Spanish and English sometimes. I've seen it. We're gonna leave all the information in the description with
Okay,
Claudia's
super.
bio and all the details, so that you can all and see everything where she is and everything. Claudia, I love you, my cousin. Well, I love you. I'm like, my heart goes like boom for you.
I love you too.
Too much.
We're cousins in crime.
As well.
You know what I mean? From moms.
Okay, guys. I hope to see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.